This is BBC News, the headlines at 9 o'clock. Prince Harry is forced to apologise for using a racist term as a nickname for a fellow army officer.
Oh, little Paki friend.
Israel launches fresh attacks on Gaza as the Israeli cabinet meets to decide whether to press on with the offensive. Good morning. Prince Harry has been forced to apologise for using racist language about an Asian army colleague. He can be heard calling the soldier Paki on video footage which has been published by the News of the World this morning. St James's Palace said the prince had spoken without malice, but others have called his language disturbing and insulting.
That is bad,
The video that's got Prince Harry in so much trouble was shot by him with his own commentary as his unit prepared to fly to Cyprus.
Oh, little Paki friend.
The man in the video has been identified as Ahmed Raza Khan from northern Pakistan. Here he is with Prince Harry at the Sandhurst Passing Out Parade. And here he is at the same parade being presented with a Sword of Honour by the Queen for being the best overseas cadet. A statement from St James's Palace said Prince Harry fully understands how offensive this term can be and is extremely sorry for any offence his words might cause. However, on this occasion 3 years ago, Prince Harry used the term without any malice and as a nickname about a highly popular member of his platoon. There is no question that Prince Harry was in any way seeking to insult his friend. But that version of events is questioned by the man's uncle.
At no time he told us that he was called Paki or he was a good friend of Prince Harry. Although they served together, that is true. But Paki is definitely a derogatory remark and it's insultive.
In a different section of video, Prince Harry uses another word that could be regarded as offensive.
Like a raghead.
But the palace says Prince Harry used the term raghead to refer to a Taliban or Iraqi insurgent. And there's also a mock phone call to the Queen.
Okay, bye. Yeah. God save you. Yeah, that's great. All right, see you. Bye. Sorry, gentlemen. Thank you for coming.
The Ministry of Defence said no complaint had been made by the individual concerned, seen here on the right meeting Prince Charles. It said inappropriate behaviour was taken very seriously and all substantive allegations would be investigated. Andy Moore, BBC News.
Well, our royal correspondent Daniela Relf joins me now. Well, Daniela, embarrassing, or is it a bit more than that, do you think?
Extremely embarrassing, and I think a statement from St James's Palace makes it very clear the level of embarrassment that they feel about this, talking about the fact he used the word without malice, saying that he was very sorry and he realises exactly what he's done here. I think it's very unfortunate timing in terms of Prince Harry at the moment because he has had, for want of a better word, a good run. You know, he had the coming out of Afghanistan last year. I think that was a real step up for him, a real sense of maturity that people could see. He was extremely proud of being a serving officer in the army, and for this particular incident to surround his army career is particularly unfortunate.
Difficult though, isn't it? Because as you say, he's got an army career. He's mixing in that sort of world when he's being a soldier. Then he's expected to be something rather different in the rest of his life.
Yes, absolutely. But I think clearly as a member of the royal family, he is held to a certain standard, and that means that everything he says and does is held under extremely close scrutiny, regardless of whether it was banter amongst colleagues and something that was used by lots of other people he was working with. So I think because of the issue of him being a member of the royal family, clearly this is going to be looked at very closely.
Yeah, and of course there isn't just the remarks about a fellow officer. There's also disparaging remarks. I don't know if one would call them that, but talking about his mother and I think even his grandmother rather. That's going to be a bit tricky for him to handle as well, isn't it?
Yes, although I think perhaps that the tone of those were very light-hearted. There hasn't been anything in the statement from St James's Palace that hasn't been mentioned in any way, so you get the sense that perhaps in the context of everything that he said, that really is probably pretty insignificant.
Daniela, thank you very much indeed. Well, now in the studio we have the royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliam, and we also have Fitzwilliams, I should say, and on the line we have Aki Nawaz. He's the founder of the band Fundamental and a political activist. I will come to you in just a moment if we may, Aki. Now then, Richard, first of all, what do you make of this incident?
Certainly embarrassing. Very important to stress the fact he has apologised, and also I would say to those who see the language that he used and are naturally much offended, look at the context in which this was made and remember that it was 3 years ago, because he was immature at that time. Subsequently, he served in the front line. There's no question that he's undergone a journey insofar as his own character was concerned. He was the royal wild child. Then overnight he became a hero, as the press would have it, for being in Afghanistan for 10 weeks.
Yeah, there was those pictures of him with the gun, which we all remember.
Which is so important because it brought to the sitting rooms here, through the television medium, what was happening on the ground. He was in his element there. Here, clearly, is immaturity. There's no question about it. Of course, shouldn't have done it. And the video, that aspect of it too, have to be so sensitive when they're being recorded. No doubt about that.
When you say he was immature, I mean, paint a picture of him as he was at that time.
At that time, he was undergoing training at Sandhurst. At that time, he was a squaddy, and they were relaxing. Remember, Prince Harry was a great party prince. There's no question also at that time that he wasn't very experienced. There'd been drink and drug problems in the past. There's no question at all that he has altered. A line's got to be drawn under this, and we've got to move on. Of course, it will embarrass a lot of people, and there's no question, I think, that he deeply regrets it. On the other hand, there was the swastika incident. People remember that. That's the problem with these incidents. They stick in people's minds.
Just remind us about that.
In January 2005, he wore an Africa Corps uniform to a fancy dress party, and it had a swastika on it, and needless to say, it caused enormous offence. This, I think, the news of the world are blowing up somewhat out of context, because if you look at the actual footage, that is the test of it. Was he intending to be offensive and insulting? I don't think so, looking at it.
Well, let's now talk to Aki Nawaz. As I say, he's founder of the band Fundamental and a political activist on the phone at the moment. Aki, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Well, what do you think about this incident?
Well, good morning. Well, I don't accept Richard's analysis of anything. He's presented it almost as like water off a duck's back. This word has caused massive offence to our communities and people, not just recently, for years and years. And to kind of somehow paint Prince Harry as being naive or innocent, I think it's just absolutely a hideous analysis. He's been brought up in a privileged background, had the best education, travelled the world, and to make comments like this, and if you watch the video, and again Richard presents it as almost like, there's no malice. He was using the word from quite a far distance. He wasn't saying it to the officer's face. And also, as you just reported earlier, that his family didn't know that their son was being called the P word. It's absolutely disgusting, and I think that he should be dismissed from the MOD, by the MOD, and he should make a public apology. We don't accept these things. We've had to live with this for over 40 years, and for Richard just to present it as something that we can draw a line is not acceptable. It's us that it affects, not Richard every day, every night, and I find it really offensive.
But Aki, if I could just say to you, I mean, he has actually apologised, that has happened. Surely, he was in the army. People are rough and tough in the army. They say things to each other. Aren't we getting this a little out of proportion?
Well, this is not taking a kind of politically correct position. This is a position of having some kind of moral decency towards people from different communities. And, all I can recall is through my youth, being at concerts and skinheads at the back, zig heiling and calling me the P word. So I think that, and also the Ministry of Defence says it aims to tackle racism. Well, then here's the best opportunity to show us what you actually want to do about racism.
Yes. Aki, let's Richard, your view on what Aki was just saying?
Well, I'd like to stress to Aki that there, for example, it's very important to make this point, there was no complaint. Therefore, the Ministry of Defence won't be investigating anything unless an actual complaint has been made, and it wasn't.
Aki, just a minute. Aki, just let Richard speak, and we'll come back to you in a second, I promise you.
And I believe the reason a complaint wasn't made is that the Prince, though immature and childish, and there's no question about that, he did not intend to be offensive. And I think if you look, again, I stress the context of the video, if you see the way they talk, if you see the body language, it's a collection of young squaddies at the time of training, and it's in that sense that I think we should move on, draw a line under this, and look at him in the Army Air Corps, remember what he did in Afghanistan. And also the fact, I'd make this point to Aki, regarding the racist aspect of this that's been alleged, remember the Prince is helping with his charity centre Bali. He's put the mountainous kingdom of Lesotho more or less on the map with this to help AIDS orphans. It is an important point.
Yeah. Aki, surely the difference is that the skinheads who you experienced were insulting you. There's no suggestion here that Prince Harry was insulting the person he was talking to.
Well, firstly, let's get this right. If you watch the video, if there's been no complaint to the Ministry of Defence, it's because the person that he was aiming at didn't actually hear his comments. So how the hell somebody expects a complaint to come from somebody? And Richard's seen the same video as me. So and if Richard talks about it, it didn't have the tone of malice. Exactly. That's the point is that it was done with such ease and such confidence that and the rest of the platoon were also referring to this soldier as, with the P word, is insulting and degrading in itself. I just can't understand why people can make excuses for Prince Harry. He's had a privileged background, and we know that the monarchy has, essentially historically been a racist institute anyway.
Well, I think, Aki, Nawaz, we're rather moving away from the issue of the day there. But listen, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We do appreciate that, and Richard Fitzwilliams as well. Thanks you very much indeed. Thank you. There has been another night of heavy bombardment across Gaza and reports of more fighting on the outskirts of Gaza City. The Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert says Israel is nearing the goals it set for the war, but will continue its offensive. The Israeli cabinet is also due to meet this morning. My colleague Ben Brown is on the Gaza border.
Well, it is day 16 of this Israeli Operation Cast-Lead, as they call it, this operation to crush Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Behind me, international reporters still not being allowed access into the Gaza Strip, but I can tell you both sides, Israel and Hamas,